Tonight, as you look up, the moon is a constant, a silent, pearlescent witness to every heartbeat in human history. It is the rhythmic pulse of our oceans and the steady hand that keeps our planet from wobbling like a dying top. But imagine waking up tomorrow to a sky that is hollow. No explosion, no warning, just a sudden, clean absence, a cosmic erasure. You might think the primary loss would be poetic, a missing muse for poets and lovers. You would be wrong. The disappearance of the moon isn't a mere change in the scenery, it is the removal of Earth's gravitational anchor. Within seconds, the fundamental rhythm of our world would shatter. The oceans, currently pulled into a bulge by lunar gravity, would instantly begin to collapse back toward the poles, sending a global, chaotic surge of water across every coastline on Earth. But that is just the beginning of the unravelling. We treat the moon as a celestial accessory, just a nightlight we inherited by chance. In reality, it is the only reason our climate has remained stable enough for your ancestors to crawl out of the primordial soup. Without it, the very axis of our world begins to drift. We are a spinning marble on a glass floor and someone just bumped the table. The Earth's tilt, currently a life-giving 23.5 degrees, would start to swing wildly. We aren't just losing a rock in the sky, we are losing the heartbeat of the world. And as the tides fail and the seasons descend into madness, we are forced to face a terrifying realization. Our entire biological and psychological identity is built upon a foundation that can vanish in a heartbeat. To understand why the moon's absence is a death sentence, we have to look at the invisible tether of gravity. Think of the Earth and moon not as two separate objects, but as a pair of dancers spinning while holding hands. The moon's mass, roughly 7.3 times 10 to the power of 22 kilograms, exerts a constant pull. This pull creates the tidal bulge. When the moon vanishes, that bulge of water doesn't just disappear, it flattens. Imagine holding a heavy water balloon and squeezing it in the middle. If you suddenly let go, the water rushes to fill the spaces you were compressing. On a planetary scale, this translates to a massive global redistribution of the oceans. The tides wouldn't just stop, they would oscillate violently before settling into a weak, pathetic shadow of their former selves, driven only by the distant sun. But the most catastrophic scientific consequence is the loss of axial stability. The Earth is a top. If you spin a top, it stays upright because of its angular momentum. However, the Earth is prone to precession, a fancy word for wobbling. The moon acts as a stabilizer. It exerts a torque that keeps our tilt steady. Without the moon, the Earth's axial tilt could swing from 0 degrees to 85 degrees over millions of years, or even more rapidly in chaotic bursts. At 0 degrees, the seasons vanish. Life becomes a monotonous, unchanging heat or cold. At 85 degrees, the Earth tips completely on its side. For 6 months of the year, one hemisphere would be locked in a permanent scorching day, while the other is entombed in a frozen total darkness. The temperate zones, where the vast majority of human civilization resides, would cease to exist. Beyond the climate, we have to talk about the day itself. The moon has been slowly stealing Earth's rotational energy through tidal friction for billions of years. It acts like a brake on a bicycle wheel, is why our days are 24 hours long. Without that lunar brake, the Earth would eventually begin to spin differently. In the deep past, before the moon moved as far away as it is now, an Earth day was only 4 to 12 hours long. While the moon's disappearance wouldn't instantly make the Earth spin faster, the long-term mechanics of our rotation would lose their regulator. The biological impact is even more immediate. Thousands of species rely on the moon for survival. Sea turtles use moonlight to find the ocean. Corals use the lunar cycle to time the most massive reproductive events on the planet. Many predators, including our own ancestors, evolved their hunting patterns around the illumination of the night sky. By removing the moon, you aren't just changing the physics of the planet, you are blinding the biosphere. You're erasing the clock that life has used to synchronize itself for 3 billion years. But let's move away from the crashing waves and the shifting axis. Let's look inward. Why does the idea of a moonless sky trigger such a deep, visceral sense of dread? It's because the moon is the first mirror humanity ever had. Long before we had glass or polished bronze, we had that silver disc. It taught us the concept of cycles: birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. The phases of the moon are mirrored in our own biology. The human menstrual cycle, though not perfectly synced in the modern world, is a haunting echo of the lunar month. Our very word for madness, lunacy, is a testament to how deeply we believe our minds are tethered to that rock. When we remove the moon, we break our connection to the cradling dark. In neuroscience, we talk about the predictive brain. Your brain is not a camera, it is a prediction engine. It survives by anticipating the environment. The most fundamental prediction your brain makes is that the sun will rise and the moon will follow. This is the circadian rhythm, a biological metronome hardwired into your hypothalamus. Without the moon, the night becomes a total oppressive void. For most of human history, the dark was the ultimate predator. The moon was our only reprieve. To lose it is to be cast back into the primal fear of the absolute shadows. It triggers a psychological state known as ontological insecurity, the feeling that the world is no longer a reliable place. If something as massive and permanent as the moon can simply vanish, then nothing, not the ground beneath your feet, not the people you love, not the laws of physics, is truly real. This is the cosmic shiver. It is the realization that we are not the masters of our house. We are tenants in a fragile ecosystem held together by invisible strings. We like to think of human progress as a linear ascent, but we are actually just passengers on a rock that is lucky enough to have a bodyguard. Think about the overview effect. Astronauts often describe a profound cognitive shift when they see the Earth from space, a sense of overwhelming fragility and unity. But there is a darker version of this, the void effect. It is the realization that our stability is a fluke. We are a Goldilocks planet, not just because of our distance from the sun, but because of a specific collision 4.5 billion years ago that gave us our moon. If the moon disappears, we are forced to confront our cosmic insignificance. We realize that human nature is actually lunar nature. Our religions, our calendars, our myths, our very sense of time, they are all constructs built on the back of a satellite that doesn't care if we exist. We are a species with a god complex living on a planet that is one gravitational hiccup away from total chaos. Does your consciousness feel substantial? Does your self feel permanent? It shouldn't. You're a biological byproduct of a specific set of orbital mechanics. You're a ghost in a machine that is powered by a rock 238,000 miles away. If that rock leaves, the ghost begins to flicker. The dread you feel at the thought of a moonless sky is your evolutionary lizard brain realizing that the safety net was always an illusion. We're hanging by a thread over an infinite abyss, and we just realized the thread is fraying. So we return to the morning after. The tides are screaming across the continents. The Earth's tilt is beginning its slow, chaotic drift into seasonal extremes that will eventually bake the poles and freeze the tropics. The animals are lost. The night is a wall of black ink. But perhaps the most terrifying part isn't the physical destruction. It's the silence. The moon was our companion in the dark. It was the other that proved we weren't alone in the local void. Without it, the sky feels empty in a way that stars can't fix. The stars are too far away to care. The moon was close enough to feel. We are left with a question that science cannot answer, but philosophy must. If the anchor of our world can vanish, what are we actually holding on to? We spend our lives worrying about the trivial, the politics of the day, the digital ghosts on our screens, the minor anxieties of a social existence. Yet, we are entirely dependent on a silent grey sphere that we rarely even stop to thank. If you woke up tomorrow and the moon was gone, would you finally see the world for what it is? A fragile, beautiful, and utterly accidental miracle? Or would the sheer scale of the loss break the human spirit before the climate even had the chance? Perhaps the moon isn't just a rock. Perhaps it's a reminder that our existence is a privilege, not a right. What would you miss most about a world without the moon? Is it the light, the tides, or the simple comfort of knowing something is watching over us? Let me know in the comments. Your perspective is the only thing that gives this cold universe meaning. I am 10 Minute Cosmos. Follow for more if the stars allow.